These waves are mine.
Relativity. What's with it? It's your drinkability. Sergeant Young. You know how we gets down. Triple B. Shotgun and pool. Up in here tonight, we finna do how we do. You know. It's beautiful. Everything is everything. Roll up on no perk, I get hot mouth. Fly shit down.
Hey, how's it going, man? Man, this fucking movie right here, bro. I have to actually do a spoiler review which I usually don't do. No one's probably watching anyway.
I'll do it.
Go for more than 90 seconds. I might clear.
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay. Light the candle to open the door. Blow it out to close it. Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
Well, yeah, man. This movie is interesting to me because, first of all, I went to Domino's Pizza and got a large pizza with extra mushrooms, hold the pizza. So this movie was interesting to me when I watched it. I was, let's just say, it was hitting me. It was hitting on all cylinders. Not necessarily good cylinders, not bad cylinders. First of all, let me tell you about A24 videos at A24 Studios. I already told you guys before. I'm fucking with A24. I feel like almost all their movies have been hits to me, or at least have been innovative. I don't know if you guys know, with me, innovation is a big deal. It's like, I like to see what's gonna grandfather in other stuff, and this movie I feel like could do that. Where this one might not have been as great, or maybe you guys could love it, but I feel like it could grandfather in different ideas, and that to me is innovation. So right off the top, before I start the movie, I'm gonna say, for innovation, I would give it a 10 just because of some things we're gonna talk about, but not a 10 for a rating at all. I'm not giving it a 10 for rating at all. If innovation was the thing that I rate and I don't, I would give it a 10. But let's just, like, I played video games before that sucked hella bad, but I was like, saw one schematic or one technique you could do in the game, or one thing that I was like, this could change something. This could be, you know, I remember when I first saw games that didn't have life bars and shit like that. But yeah, so in essence, this movie does something interesting with death. If you guys have ever seen the movie, I think it's called It Follows. I'm not sure. It was a movie where death was sex. And it was kind of like, I felt like a way to make you be able to save on special effects. And me trying to make a movie in my head, I'm trying to make like a mini movie in real life. I feel like anything that can make me be able to not have to pay money for special effects, I have to give props to. So this movie to me had racial undertones because I'm black. I don't know if anyone else had these same undertones as me. This movie had hints on mental illness and like vulnerability that I thought was kind of cool, kind of not cool. I felt like the idea of this movie really doesn't work, but if you believe in the first seconds of the movie that there's a hand that can do this, then you can kind of do anything. Like, there's kind of no rules then, because I remember I seen this movie called Short Circuit when I was a kid. I don't know if you guys are probably way too young to even know this, but it's this movie about these government-issued robots, and you know they're for fighting, and one of them gets hit by lightning, and then all of a sudden he just leaves the place and hooks up with this chick who's like an ice cream truck driver, or she has a food truck or something like that. I believe I could be wrong. It's been a long time. I haven't seen since I was a kid, but I remember being a kid and thinking in my head at that moment, hey, if lightning hit the thing and that did that, then you could do anything. And I remember being a kid and I was kind of like, I love the movie, but I kind of remember that still to this day. And I remember there's other movies like that, like Chucky. It's like, if you don't believe in voodoo, then the whole idea of Chucky, you wouldn't believe in the movie. But if you give credence to voodoo, or if you just believe it in that moment of the movie, or shit, even the multiverse, all this shit, it's like, shit, you can kind of do anything if the person watching it behind the screen is willing to take the ticket and go for the ride. So I feel like in that aspect, as an A24 movie, this movie works, and it doesn't work. It's like, hey, I myself personally look at this movie, and I saw a movie about a black chick, unfortunately, who kind of ruined a game that a bunch of people were playing. Everyone kind of didn't like her from the beginning because she had her own problems, or that personal or whatever. But she kind of fucked it up and kind of made all this shit happen. And I felt like, in my head, from what I saw, which is fucked up, maybe I'm fucked up in my head on thinking, Death kind of saw a mean ass, like, domineering black chick and was kind of just like, I'm just gonna take her and use her because no one's gonna be able to stop her, and she's gonna be. Now people are saying it's because in the first couple seconds she went over and all this shit. But just like movies I used to watch back in like the 90s, but that were probably like 80s and movies like that and stuff, you gotta get to the action fast. It's only an hour and a half. I remember I watched Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a good ass movie. But in the first 2 minutes, he does a montage with his daughter. I think she was Melissa Milano at the time. Little girl. They're eating ice cream. They're in a swimming pool. You know, but the action has to get to killing. So within 2-3 minutes, the helicopter's coming in. We need you back. I think his name was John Matrix. I don't remember what his name was. But it's like, we need you back. We got to do this. We got to do that. And it's like, then throughout the whole movie, whenever they make reference to his daughter, you see that same montage over and over, like a bad music video and shit. So I felt like some people said that they didn't see this at all, and that I'm tripping, and that I'm warped in my head, and that could be the case. In that aspect, I have to give to this movie. I could tell that 2 guys directed this movie, or 2 guys co-wrote it, or whatever, because it seemed like 2 dudes said, hey, let's just write our own movies, and we'll just make scenes that connect it to, and make it make sense. And in that regard, if that's what they did, they actually accomplished that. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't think it was hella cool that hella people, how can I phrase this? I didn't think that it was hella cool that there's hella people in the movie, they didn't interact with the thing. But I could see how this could be considered like serious horror in a sense. Not the beginning part when they're kind of using death kind of like a drug, you know? But I mean, this is the same old Ouija board, the monkey's paw, this is all that shit. Whatever this thing is, you don't know where it came from, and we just have to just accept what it is, and that's cool. Let's just go for the ride, and whatever it is, it is. I felt like if you watch Hereditary, that's like family horror. If you watch Midsommar, that's like ritual horror. If you watch like Men, that's like Me Too horror. I feel like if you watch the movie, if you watch this movie right here, it's kind of like serious horror in a sense that like death was like I don't want to say a pimp. It was like a manipulator. Like when you watch the movie, you could say this is this and this is that, and both people can be right. Both people can be wrong. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Mother, and I don't want to spoil that at all. Go watch it if you never saw it. But the movie Mother was so divisive. A man could see it like the guy being right, and a girl could see the girl being right, and a guy could see the girl being wrong, and a girl could see the guy being wrong, and I could see people fighting over that shit. And that's a damn good movie to me. I feel like when you leave a movie theater, or when you're done watching a movie, regardless if it's good or bad, you should feel a certain way. Either want to watch it again, either you hated it, either you loved it. It's like, it affected you. And that's what I feel like a movie's supposed to do, even for 2 hours. And that's why I feel like some people lose when they try and make every movie be hella great. It's like, A24 Studios reminds me kind of like old school Rockstar. If you guys play video games, it's like, there was a time when they had Manhunt, Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. They had Grand Theft Auto 3 came out. They had Grand Theft Auto Vice City. They had Manhunt 2. They had a couple other games that were like a little bit low key, but they were throwing money at all these different versions of Rockstar. Rockstar North, Rockstar this, Rockstar whatever. And it's like, I feel like that's what A24 is doing. Instead of putting all their money into big, giant killer blockbuster movies, they're putting their money into smart ideas. It's like, instead of saying like, oh, we're gonna set this up for a 3-movie franchise and thinking already ahead, they're like, let's just make an impact now and make our name known. They kind of remind me of a good fighter, because you guys know I fight. Check out my fights if you guys never seen them. But I fight on Street Beefs, but it's like a good fighter sometimes transcends whatever organization he fights at because he's hella tight. Like Justin Gaethje, it's like I didn't know who Justin Gaethje was. Once I seen that full fight, I felt like that's the way I fight too. He's way more technical than me, but I felt like I'm like a brawler like that, and I felt like, man, like wherever he goes, I'm gonna watch now. I just had to just see his style. And some guys think that it's the organization that makes them, and I don't believe that. When I first saw Mike Tyson talk to Kimbo Slice, he told him never go pro. And the reason why I think so is because a lot of guys that I train with that talk about pro, they're like prima donnas. They feel like pro means something more than just do you fight or will you fight? Are you willing to fight at any time, any moment, any person? It's like all pro means is you got some money. It's like shit. If you're a stand-up comedian and you fucking tell some jokes for a couple bucks, to me you're a fucking pro. But yeah, man, all in all, I feel like using death as a gimmick to get high kind of worked, only because they didn't have hella other drugs there and hella alcohol, because I feel like other people just like, hey, I'll just smoke some weed, or like, I'll just drink some alcohol, I don't want to fuck with the death hand and shit. But they kind of like set it up to where it's like, hey, we're gonna go out tonight and fuck with and do some death and shit. So in that aspect, is me being someone that likes to party and shit, it's like, I can see myself probably doing it once or twice. The movie had a lot of warnings in it, and I like that no one paid attention to any of the damn warnings. One of the things I thought was really, really weak about the movie was the continuity when it came to like security and like feelings of people. But at the same time, if it was that death with some of those people and that maybe they all were wearing the same kind of clothes, or if they all had some kind of expression or some kind of scar, because A24 does stuff like that. Where I remember I was watching Men, I didn't realize in Men they were all the same face till like an hour in. I feel like a dummy. I was like, oh my god, the little boy, he was just a younger version. Oh man. And it's like, if you guys ever seen the movie Pearl or the movie X, the way that X was one movie, but then Pearl was such a different movie, but how they combined, it's like, I don't know. These guys are doing smart ideas. They're doing smart shit. That was smart to me. It's like using death. I don't know if it could work for other movies. Maybe just one time. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a cult classic. I felt like the movie was basically about a bunch of demons and shit, and you can use this hand somehow to go into death and to fucking fuck with them and talk to them and shit. It's some kind of doorway, it's a gateway, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like the way the beginning of the movie starts kind of was stupid to the way that the ending of this one's ended, the way she had like, well, I'll get to the ending here in a minute. The way that the movie paces and the way that this movie actually works and the way it doesn't work is subjective to me. I feel like if you're younger, it could work better. I feel like if you're older, it might not work as much. I feel like if you hate the main character, then the movie you can see is like an 8 out of 10, I feel like. If you like the main character, I feel like it's just like a regular 6 out of 10. But there was a lot of weird ass like subliminal elements and a lot of like artistic choices that they took that I thought were pretty cool. I feel like I said, A24's only had a couple misses for me, and they were only misses because they were out there. It wasn't that the movie was bad. Like I was watching the Everything Nowhere, Everything at All at Once or something, and it's like when they became rocks, I kind of just turned the movie off. But I'm sure that was only a couple seconds or something. It might even been 1 minute or something like that. But yeah, so I feel like this movie is basically about some kids that fucking channel death. They go into they're fucking around with death and shit. They're doing their thing, having fun, following the rules. The demon saw that there was a black chick, or that there was a chick that was vulnerable, however you want to say it. And I feel like they knew that she was the one that was going to be able to fucking ruin everything and get what they want from her. So they used her. Death kind of like was like, shit, if you're going to buy your fucking be alive, buy it from me, bitch, you know? Like he was kind of, people were saying that was her mom because it would be the form of her mom. But yet, what was cool about the way they did the movie was every time the death would say something, someone in real life would say a one-liner or something against that. Like, for instance, she'd be like, oh, well, he's not getting better. He's dying. He's look at him, whatever. But then someone on the phone or someone in the background would be like, oh, yeah, it's looking up. It's looking positive. Or you might see a warning and no one pays attention to the warning. And it really didn't even have anything to do with the end. Or you, in your head, you can say it had everything to do with the end. Because the ending ended a certain way. I felt like everything was kind of open-ended. It's like, if someone said to me, she killed herself from the very first touch, and the dude wasn't even hurt, that's why he healed so fast. Cool. If someone said, hey, she's dead, and she saw the memory of him, and because she died, he healed back up. Cool. If someone's like, well, look, his eye wasn't fucking gone, I'm like, okay, cool. Since there was no one talking and no one sitting there giving us context or anything, it's all left up to your interpretation. So it's like, you can't really be wrong, I feel like, when it comes to these kind of movies. Like, have you ever seen the movie American Psycho? The end of the movie, I've heard people be like, okay, it was all fake. It was in his head. Then I heard some white dudes like, nah, it was white dudes protecting each other and just helping other white dudes. And I heard people going, well, he was running around killing people, but there was no witnesses, there was no cameras, he just got away with it. I mean, shit. I enjoyed the movie, and I enjoyed all three of their explanations. In my head, it was a crazy-ass white dude who just did that shit, and it didn't even happen, and it was a book, yeah. And he just was like, it's what he wanted to do. He's one of those dudes that, like, feels like he's super strong and super powerful, but in reality, he's just a normal-ass dude, and he's just a little weirdo. Like, we're all weird, and that's just, he's a typical dude, like most dudes are. So, yeah. Like I said, though, basically, Death was trying to just take over her, getting her to try and get this little boy, almost like the movie Poltergeist. When the demons in Poltergeist, they wanted to get the little girl, and they were more concerned with, instead of getting the whole family, they really wanted the little chick. She was like the pure, uncut drug. So if you look at it, even though death is like a drug, I feel like to the demons, us becoming dead is like a drug to them. Because how they're saying they don't want you to stay and all this other shit. But the rules were kind of retarded. I kind of liked and didn't like how the monster didn't interact with everyone. Like, in a Freddy Krueger movie or in a Jason movie or something, each person's going to have their interaction with the dream or with the person. In this movie, it wasn't like that. I thought in this movie it was interesting that some of the teenagers would not accept certain things that they saw. And I thought it was cool that some of the teenagers were like, hey man, I'm not seeing this shit, so shit, that sucks. Like how it kind of would be. If one of your homies is addicted to drugs and one of your homies became like a crackhead, you'd be like, well fuck man, I'm not a crackhead, like, I'm not there yet, bro. Maybe when I get there, we'll both be able to be mad about it. So, the way they did death like that, I could see that being something that someone can use later on in another movie. Maybe not death as a drug, but death is like, shit, hella inanimate objects we don't even use anymore. I feel like death could be anything. If death can be a hand that's fucking a fake hand, then death could be a fucking, I don't know, insert your joke there. It's like, because we're believing anything. So it's like, if we're going down that road, which I'm down to go down that road, I have no problem. If you tell me in the first beginning of the movie, these are the rules, and this thing just is just what it is, cool. I can watch a movie like that. But if you want to explain something to me in a movie, then stick to the rules of the movie, because you made those rules. So in this movie, I feel like the rules were kind of like fly by fly, you know what I'm saying? But then again, they didn't understand it completely, so that was kind of weird too. It's like the idea that you have this thing, but that's how drugs would be too. Like, hey, I got this, let's just get fucked up, blah, blah, blah. So in looking at it like that, I can kind of understand. But yeah, death took the form of her mom, and it's about a chick who had lost her mom, and now she's like going through life all mad and shit. You can tell from the beginning of the movie, nobody likes her. They're all like, man, why'd you bring her to the party? These kids get together with this hand. They all basically take hits of death, basically. And the idea is you can't take more than, you got to pass the hand on to the next person. You see a dead person in front of you, you don't know who the dead person is, you got to tell them, hey, I talked to you, let me in. And the person goes inside of you. And that also wasn't really fleshed out because they did it like a quick montage. This movie's only an hour and a half, people, so if you like that and you just want to get in and out, that's tight. If you wanted a big ass, long, drawn out like movie like with explanations, this ain't it. But if you want to be able to make your own, this is almost like college horror. It's like, in a sense, because it's like when you go to college, The teacher's not trying to talk to each individual. The teacher's just giving you the lesson, and you take from what it is. He's gonna tell you what he's gonna test you on. Where like when you were in fucking grade school, the teacher would come to your desk and talk to you with that coffee breath and shit, and be all looming over you and walking around. Yeah, this is the college professor's like, you can fail, I don't give a fuck. So these guys made a movie where they're like, hey, you can get it. We don't give a fuck if you guys don't get it. It is what it is. And the whole idea that if you believe in the hand, then you can't not believe in anything after that. That's what I feel like. So this is a Ouija board. This is the monkey paw. This is the fucking hand. So yeah, the hand is a part of the universe now. We got the hand. So the little black chick, I didn't like her. She got on my fucking nerves. I didn't like the way she tried to change everything and wanted to basically have her little friend who, when she first conjured up a demon, her demon looked at the little youngest kid in the room and said, hey, we want you, we like you, run, run, run. So to me, that could have been her mom, because that might have been the only demon that was actually nice. Then after that, this bitch is like, the demon knew my mom's name, how this, like you wouldn't think that if you could see a dead person or dead people wouldn't know shit about you. Anyway, take that, move that to the side. She eventually lets this little kid, like someone would do like with a beer or something, take a sip or whatever. They all say 50 seconds, not 90 seconds. Dad sees that she's gonna just fuck everything up and not give a fuck and goes, hey, what's up? I'm your mom. And she tells everyone, no, I want to talk to my mom for longer, knowing that she can just take the hand off and just put it on someone else and maybe find her mom, maybe not. But she knows the rules, and she basically just lets the little boy get fucked over. He's fucked up for the whole movie, and this is some stupid ass movie about her running around trying to make shit right, and people hate her 1 second and they like her the next second, unless that was death. Like I said, if someone in the comments tells me that when the mom in some picture was like had her hair flat or something, or she was more pasty or something and was death, because if like 1 second the mom's like, I hate you, get out of here, and then she's like, oh, he's your family, I love you, and the sister's not telling the mom, hey mom, we just had a fucking death hand and that's what's wrong with her. The sister's sitting there not saying shit to the mom. There's no security anywhere. People are just running and taking out bodies out of the hospital and shit. And it's like, it all still worked. I mean, it works. It's like, if you believe the hand, then I believe all that shit. And in the end, whatever your interpretation of it was, I feel is real. I feel like she killed herself instead of killing the little boy, because the demon's one little boy. He was fake trying to kill himself, which is probably just a way to make her seem like he was trying to kill himself, because the death was basically saying, I can protect him and act like her mom, but it didn't make any sense, because you knew if he died, it wouldn't help him. But somehow she was convinced that death was her mom now, and she started trying to use the hand by herself, which is like someone smoking crack by themselves or doing heroin by themselves or whatever. It's like, it made sense to me. You take it home by yourself, be in the corner sweating and shit, doing it by yourself, not telling your friends. Your friends are like, we didn't know you were doing it by yourself. It all made sense in that aspect. They made it death. So, like I said, 8 out of 10 if you like the chick. I mean, if you hate the chick, I hated her. So I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I hated her. Now, if you liked her, I give it a 6 out of 10 because she was whatever.